Hey y'all, I wanted to show you guys how I created my free ebook using my free account on Canva, using my iPhone, and using payhip for free. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is use the Canva. You can either use the Canva app, or I don't have the app. I just use the website because, storage is an issue when you are an iPhone user. So I realized that you're going to need to search for the ebook cover to be able to start from scratch so that you can customize everything just the way that you like it. So for me, I knew that I wanted this to look like a little school book because this was something that I thought was educational. So I decided to use notebook paper, and when I used it, I was like, you know what? There's certain elements that I don't really like, or maybe it's not going to go with what I wanted, because I wanted everything to look as clean and neat as possible, but also as cute as possible. So on Canva, you can actually delete elements that you don't like and add the ones that you do like. I decided to stick with the font that they had, which was the permanent marker, and I'm going to use this font throughout the whole ebook. Like I said, I wanted this to look as uniformed and as professional as I wanted it to be. Then I started moving things around to kind of close in that empty space that I had, because I wanted things to look like it was perfectly spaced and not like, oh, she just didn't have enough to write, so she got all this empty space. Like, I wanted the space to look like it was supposed to be there on purpose. And because there's lines on this paper, I wanted to make sure that whatever I typed, like this little small part, that it was actually sitting on a line and not just dangling into free air. Then here, just make sure that you put your name on there. Then you can hit add page. So I noticed that when I was creating my ebook, I wanted to share tips, but I also wanted to add pictures in there to give people something to look at. So I was like, well, you know what? I could add pictures, but I can also add quotes from people that people know and love, and also people that I love that people may not be aware of, that says something unique or powerful or even funny when they talked about makeup. So to add text onto your paper, you just hit the big T over there that says text, as you saw me do, and then you can immediately start texting and you can change the font. So for me, I made sure that I hit the align button because I wanted it to align a certain way, because I knew that I was going to add a picture. I can always change this after the picture, but for the most part, I wanted it as situated as possible. So once I found the picture for Janelle Monáe, I started to fidget with the words again, because when you are adding text over picture, you want to be able to make sure that the picture is standing out and it's as clear as possible, like whatever is going on in the picture, that your audience can be able to see. Because if they can't barely see, you just shouldn't have used the picture. You can also mess with the transparency to make the words stand out even more. So when I started sharing my tips, I was like, you know what's so cool? I should do numbers on each tip that I share. One, because people love numbers. They love figuring out, like, okay, how many steps does it take to get here? And if you notice, when people market, they always say, oh, I use 3 steps to do this, 5 easy steps to accomplish this. So I decided that I was going to number them, and I have 8 tips, of course. So I just found the number that looked the most pleasant to me. And when you put the number in, make sure that you hit elements so that you can see like the different ways other people use numbers. And you can also change the color of the numbers or whatever symbol that you put on there. For this, I just chose to keep it classic and just use black because I ain't have time to be messing with all them colors. Then I added another text box and I started typing my first tip that I wanted to add in here. And then, of course, I changed the font, which is right up there in the front. I don't know how to say that. But to find more quotes, I used Google to, I spelled that wrong, sorry, but I fixed it later. But to find more quotes, I decided to use Google. And I love Marilyn Monroe, y'all, but I was like, I'm just about to use somebody else. I'm sick of using her. No offense to the lady, just saying. So I found one that I liked, and I also liked that actress as well. But I clicked on there and I went to the website where that came from. And I'm going to show you guys how you can take a image from Google and actually save it to use on Canva. So this image I didn't actually use. I'm just using it for, the sake of the video. So you can add image to photos, and then you can go to Canva and click upload, and then go to upload media. And you can also upload videos as well, but today we're just going to do photos. And you just click the photo that you want. Once it's uploaded, you can click it and bring it to the page, and then you can double click on the picture and you can set it as background. For this, I only needed to use the picture because I can retype out her quote. I just need the picture of her. Once you have the picture, you can be able to type out the quote as you see in this picture and just lay it over and to adjust it the way that you see fit. Because remember, we're trying to complement each picture that we add. So I noticed that when I had a tip that was a little lengthy or had two parts of it, I would break it up into two sections like you see here, specifically because in that tip, I actually shared products that you can be able to use, and I didn't want it to look like one big blurb. So I did make sure that I use the same level of transparency for all of the pictures to give it a more uniformed look. For the last tip, because it was so much and I added a special tip, I really wanted that to stand out. So I just added an extra element, like a little text blurb. So for the very last page, I decided to use a neon color and a different print because I wanted people's opinion, and I also wanted to link my social media accounts. So for this, I highlighted each social media that I had, and then I hit the link button and I typed in my social media website. To test it out, I went to go to link so that I can make sure that it did work and it actually went to the correct account, because sometimes we be doing typos and it send us to somewhere else. This also helps to bring more awareness to your brand or your business. So now that I'm all done and everything looks the way that I want it to look, I'm going to download this. So make sure that it does say PDF standard in all pages, and then select download. So I switched over to my iPhone to show you guys like what it looks like. When I created this ebook, I didn't have a MacBook. I had my iPhone. So it's much easier to use Canva on your iPhone. But once you're done downloading, make sure that that blue arrow at the top where the search bar is completely blue, and you'll select downloads. At the time, I didn't know where you were supposed to save it, so I ended up saving this to my books, like, the library of books where you purchase books at. And it popped right up into my library. Yay me. And I just got to view it there, which was nice. But another way is you can check your download folder, and it's actually right there, and you can check it and you can review it as well. So now I'm on payhip showing you guys how I used a free account to be able to upload my book. So I made sure that I selected what kind of document it was, which it'll be electronic. And I went to my files, which it went straight to the download files. Once it downloaded, I screenshotted the cover of my ebook and used that as the picture that customers will see when they purchase the ebook. I like payhip because you can sell this book for absolute nothing. Like, there's no fees, no hidden nothing. It's absolutely free. And I can always go back in and adjust it as well. And then the title, I just use the same title that I put on the ebook. Because why would I change the title, guys? I also used the description bar to describe what the ebook was, but also what the next steps are, because sometimes when people would download it, they would text me and say, hey, I didn't receive my ebook. When you actually did, it was in your email. They sent a link that you had to click to download it. And then once you download it, you have to save it. So I made sure that I used that description bar to be able to describe the process. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this book. Remember, it's you that makes you beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one.